All right, let's talk about something that's, well, it's really painful for a lot of high achievers. It's that moment you hit a wall. You know what I'm talking about? Today, we're going to dig into why some of the absolute brightest students suddenly feel like their brain has just given up on them, like it's just stopped working.
So, let's jump right into the big question, the mystery that honestly baffles so many students and, their parents too. How is it that someone who has totally aced every single test their whole life suddenly starts struggling with these massive competitive exams? It really feels like your brain just flips a switch and shuts off. But is that what's really going on here?
Well, the answer really starts when you realize a crucial distinction. The student who does great early on in school and the one who absolutely crushes these high-stakes exams, they're playing two completely different games. Seriously, think about it. On one hand, you've got the early achiever. They're rewarded for being fast, for having that quick wit. But on the other side, you have the exam dominator, and they win because of pure grit and being able to handle insane amounts of stress. These are just fundamentally different skill sets.
Okay, so how does this actually play out in the real world? It all starts with something we're going to call the brilliance trap. This is where the very thing that always made you feel smart, well, it suddenly becomes your biggest liability.
You know, those early high achievers, they're usually masters of something called fluid intelligence. What's that? It's basically the ability to process new stuff really quickly, to spot patterns, and to lean on your short-term memory. And schools, oh, they love this. They reward you for getting the right answer and getting it fast. And all that praise, it helps you build this entire identity around being the person who's just effortlessly smart.
But here's the thing, that reliance on speed, it becomes a trap. Because when the syllabus suddenly balloons from, say, a single chapter to 2 whole years of dense material, a brain that's wired for that quick wit it can't keep up. And that struggle, it doesn't feel like a challenge anymore. It feels like a personal failure. The thought that creeps in is, wow, I'm just not smart anymore.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. What is actually happening inside your brain when you make a mistake under all that pressure? Well, it leads us to what you could call a neurological collision.
See, these competitive exams, they aren't really a test of your raw intelligence. Not at all. They're actually a grueling test of your executive function. Think of this as your brain's CEO, run by the prefrontal cortex. And it's responsible for all the hard stuff, long-term planning, delaying gratification, and probably most important of all, pure grit.
Okay, look at this. When you make a mistake, your brain can go down 2 totally different paths. The topper brain, its reaction is to send a fix-it signal. It stays calm, it learns, it adapts. But for the fragile achiever, that exact same error triggers the amygdala. That's your brain's fear center. And bam, the brain gets flooded with fear and shame, which literally blocks the learning process. And that is where that awful feeling of a mental block comes from.
So this is absolutely crucial. The big takeaway here is this. That feeling of your mind going blank, it's not you becoming dull. It's not you losing your intelligence. It's actually a biological defense mechanism. Your brain is literally trying to protect you from what it perceives as a massive threat.
But, this isn't just a story that's happening inside your head. We have to zoom out now and look at the environment, because there's another huge factor at play here. Let's talk about the unfair advantage, this invisible playing field that gives some students a massive head start.
Okay, so some students have what sociologists call cultural capital. And this isn't just about being rich. It's about having a support system that basically acts as an externalized executive function. What does that mean? It means their family handles all the logistics, the food, the transportation, the bills, everything. It removes all the friction from daily life, so the student can just be, well, a pure processing unit, focused only on study.
And then there's the complete opposite. Many other students pay what's called a cognitive tax. So while one student has 100% of their mental energy for studying, another's is getting drained by basic survival tasks. Things like calculating fuel costs, figuring out transportation, worrying about money, dealing with stress at home. Each one of those little things depletes the mental gas tank. That feeling of dullness, a lot of the time, it's just profound cognitive fatigue.
All of this brings us to the system itself. And, well, it might not be designed for the purpose you think it is. Let's talk about the Great Rejection Engine.
So here's the core of the issue. It's just a demographic reality. I mean, think about it. When you have 3 million applicants fighting for just 10,000 spots, the system's main goal has to change, right? It just can't afford the luxury of some kind of deep, nuanced evaluation.
So what is it then? It's not an educational tool. It's not designed to find the best and brightest. It's a rejection engine. Its one job is to efficiently and cheaply eliminate as many people as possible. That's it.
And this design, it actually has really deep roots. You can trace it all the way back to 19th century colonial exams that were built to create reliable clerk minds. They wanted people who could follow orders, not people who could innovate. So that old focus on rote memorization and speed, it's the perfect filter for a massive population today. It rewards what we call convergent thinking, just finding the what, over divergent thinking, which is asking why.
Okay, so knowing all of this, knowing the system feels designed to break you, how on earth do you navigate it? Well, the answer lies in adopting what we're going to call a machine mindset.
First things first, you have to reframe how you feel about this. That frustration you feel, it's a completely logical response. It's the friction you get when a brain wired for curiosity slams into a system that demands robotic compliance. The key is you're not broken. The system is just asking you to be something you're not.
So the solution isn't to get smarter. It's to adopt a totally new mindset. Step 1, detach your self-worth from the result. This exam is not a judgment on you as a person. Step 2, treat the syllabus like a technical algorithm you have to master, not, knowledge to be savored. And step 3, execute your study plan without emotion, just like a machine running a program.
Like the source material says, the winners are simply those who numb themselves effectively to endure the grind or possess the social safety nets to fail without consequence. That's what this machine mindset does. It helps you preserve all that mental energy that you're currently losing to anxiety and frustration and self-doubt.
Ultimately, the real key to unlocking your performance is to reframe the question the exam is even asking. It isn't really asking, are you smart? It's asking a much harder and, honestly, a much colder question. Can you endure?